Hey guys, Jay here, and in this video today I want to show you guys two things. So the first one is they are two things on the AFK simulacrum character, by the way. So the first thing is to address a concern about this particular jewel. So this is the Hinekora's Death Fury. If I removed it, well, the build still functioned the same. It's just a little bit slower and clear. So if you are trying to replicate this build, just keep in mind that if the jewels are cheap, then go for it. If you can afford it, then go for it. If you cannot afford it, it is okay. It's not the end of the world. Sure, you do clear the simulacrum overall like a little bit slower. It's like 10%, 15% slower in terms of like the time that you need to spend in a wave. It's not that significant. But yeah, it is something. So it definitely is a good investment, don't get me wrong, but it's not necessary. Okay, so we would do a whole wave 15 over here, and you'll see. And by the way, there are actually a couple of choices for the 2 jewel slot that you can have in here. So you can have a lot of things actually. You can have the rare jewels. Normally you can get rare jewels with like life damage, those kind of thing. Maybe like nice implicit, like corrupted blood cannot be you are immune to corrupted blood, or things like that, things of that sort. But also another pair of forbidden flesh and flame jewel that is going to be extremely good, and currently it is extremely cheap, is the Thessalios cleansing water. It is another node from Chieftain. It is the node that gives you 50% of your fire resistance added as extra lightning and cold resistances. And in case you didn't notice, okay, let me put on the mark over here. In case you didn't notice, resistances is pretty hard to cap in this build. And with that Forbidden Flesh and Flame jewel, initially I actually used those 2 jewels in order to cap the resistances like easily. It basically gives you just a lot of extra resistances, and you know, your gear will be free for extra you either can use like cheaper gear because you don't need as much resistance on every pieces, and also you obviously can open like new affixes for different things, like for example the damage while leeching on the glove is going to be pretty insane, pretty significant, or you know, more life regen suffixes, you know, things like that you can have from the addition of the Thessalios cleansing water forbidden jewel, right? And here let me fight. Okay, so Omniphobia here is the last monsters, and let's fight this guy, and then I'll show you guys something else. So that is the first thing. I just want to address it. If you really want to, you know, play this build, just keep in mind the Hinekora's Death Fury. The Chieftain Explosion Jewel is very nice to have. It feels very good, but it is in no way, shape, or form necessary. It is in no way required, right? So as you can see, I handle the wave 15 there just fine. So if those got expensive, just ignore it, okay? And yeah, just put whatever you want into the build, basically. So that is the first thing. The second thing is going to be more on the POB side of things, and I would like to show you this POB a little bit and talk about it a little bit. Okay, there's actually one last change that I didn't do. So I am editing the previous expensive version, right? And I want to do this for Russian Doctrine. Okay, cool. Now I have one more passive point that I can spend just literally anywhere that I want. Let's just spend it in here. All right. So this is going to be the POB for like an endgame version. If just assuming like you have infinite amount of resources, and it is not even the final form. So right here, right now, you do have like easy cap resistances if you have like a mage blood, because the 3 flats is going to be pretty insane for elemental resistances. Obviously, you are going to have cap maximum resistances at 90% very easily as you use the brass dome. It already gives 5%. The the other very expensive item is going to be, so first thing first, this is going to be the original sin. So you no longer need to use the accursor ring anymore. You don't use the penance mark anymore. And I do have, you know, some of my viewers already tested it out. I am poor as shit, so I do not have the original sin or do not have the mage blood. But people have been testing it out, and you know, they say that the damage is absolutely crazy. You don't need the penance mark at all, and it returned the build to the form of basically you don't need to press any button. You don't need to use the penance mark anymore. So if you want, you know, to throw a bunch of money, this is definitely a good option, right? So the next thing, the boot slot, because right now you are using original sin, right? So you deal chaos damage, which means the scorch from the boots doesn't do anything from the Legacy of Fury. So the best bet here is Death's Door, and with +1 maximum endurance charge corruption. So you have 1 extra endurance charges. That is just basically it. It is really good. And yeah, endurance charge is super strong this league, guys, so the more the better. Obviously there's one thing I forgot to actually edit over here, but I will create it right now. So amulet, and we want focused amulet. All right, so the anointment here, actually, wait a minute, let me see the name. Because we don't use the accursor ring anymore, we don't need a second curse, so we don't use the Whisper of Doom, and as a result we can get the final vigor, which is this one. And let's anoint it. So vigor, and we have 1 additional endurance charges. Okay, so okay, we did not add the item, so it doesn't change this one, but let's actually craft it. All right, so we do have 2 prefix and 1 suffix. What can be the prefixes? Well, it can be level of all skill gems. This one can be level of all cold skill gem, and the suffixes can be something crazy, I don't know. There are, you know, options for you to choose from. You can get like damage from this, you can get like a lot of resistances from it, but personally let's just go for damage, right? In this case, in particular for this build, it is not really a good suffix rather than like resistances, because you do not skill crit. Maybe you can do fire damage for maximum damage as possible. Let's just see, right? And if you want to, you can have like a crazy amount of freaking life in here. And if you, for example, let's just do this one, right? And we reflect this one. This item can be reflected, and let me try to edit it. I'm not sure if we can do reflected amulet in here yet. Catalyst is going to be fertile, obviously. How can we actually, so basically what I mean is, after reflect, this will be potentially, right, this will be like around 600 health. Let's just say 600. It actually maximum roll can be 624, but let's just say 600. And the fire damage here also quadruple. Let's just say 100%, right? +4 to level of all skill gems, and save. Suddenly we are a beast. And you can look for this kind of amulet if you have this kind of amulet, by the way. And how can I copy this one? Let's just create another one. Influence is fertile again. And we do skill gem, we do cold skill gem, and this one, let's just do fire damage still. Or cold damage rather. I think cold damage should be better, actually. Okay, cool. And edit. So this is going to be +4, +4. This is going to be 100%. Safe. Anoint. Vigor. Anoint Vigor. Add to the build. This focus amulet, we can actually change this one to cold damage. Save. Wait a minute. It got re-edit into the previous version. Edit. It got re-edited. Okay, so bear with me a little bit here. I'm not that great in POB. And there we go. You have a much better number. This is only for you when you want to like go absolute apeshit. I do know a guy who have an amulet that looks somewhat like this. The other, actually you need like a +2 amulet on the focus, and then you can craft like minimum endurance charges. That is going to be pretty strong. It can become 4 minimum endurance charge, which is great, or -4 minimum endurance charge, which actually doesn't do anything. So it is easier to reflect with the reflecting mist from Calandra. So yeah, it can look very crazy. The damage can be crazy, and the HP can also be pretty crazy. So these are the choices. These are the like best in slot item if you want to shoot for it. Personally, I don't think that the fire damage or the cold damage roll here is going to be like something that is like desirable for a lot of builds. So if you do this kind of thing, right, I think the best bet, like the most expensive one, is going to be probably most universally liked, is going to be life and skill gem or double skill gem, and then the suffix should be like minimum frenzy charges or endurance charges, and then you reflect, you have a great result, and you just hit the money, right? So yeah, that is everything I want to share in this video. It's a little bit clunky in the sense of me trying to work on the items basically. Oh, I do lack of 3% fire resistances. Okay, it's just some minor gear problem. I fixed it off camera, and then, you know, I'll leave the link to the POB here in the description. Keep in mind, this POB is purely for like min-max Andes and very rich people. So yeah, just want to let it out there. One change that I think I did not mention in any previous video that applies to actually every version of the build, which is right now I am using slower projectile instead of returning projectile. It is resulting in more single target damage, and that is what mattered actually. So yeah, that is everything. Thanks everyone for watching. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And yeah, that does help me greatly. I also just recently set up a page on nexus.gg, so you know, if you want to buy something from POE or maybe Last Epoch as well, if you want to buy something and if you want to support me a little bit further, that is a way that you can potentially support me without actually costing you anything extra. You can buy stuff in game for POE like supporter pack, the battle passes, microtransaction, and you know, you can buy like Last Epoch if you want to try it out, things like that. So you know, I'll leave the link in the description, and thanks for just watching. Peace.